Welcome back to Johnny Reads. As you can see from the title of the video, again, I want to talk about Barnes & Noble because why not? So today we're going to be talking about why Books A Million is probably the better place to shop when it comes to your book shopping needs. And there's quite a few reasons, and it's kind of surprising actually now that I'm thinking about it. So we're gonna go right into the first reason. So the main one is that they actually have books on the shelf. So I talked in my last video, which I'll link to right here, that Barnes & Noble, they seemingly have one copy of the books that they carry on the shelf. So for example, if you know a book that you're looking for and you go into the store, you will likely find, if they have it in stock, you'll likely find one copy on the shelf and no others. So that's not the case at Books A Million. Their stocks are literally full of books, and that includes not only, of course, lots of different ones, but also usually plenty to choose from for the same one as well. So you will not have the problem that you'll likely have at Barnes & Noble of being able to find the book that you're looking for. You likely won't have that at Books A Million, and you'll also have way more to choose from as well. Another reason I want to talk about is because Books A Million, I don't know if this is recent or if this is something that I was just unaware of, but they actually do have used books and like DVDs and music and stuff like that within their stores. Barnes & Noble, I do not believe that they have taken that step as of yet, even though Half Price is killing it and Barnes & Noble's not. But I know that Books A Million, now granted, it's a very small part of the overall stock, but when I was browsing my local store, I found plenty of books. I would say probably a few dozen that I was looking at that happened to be used. And there's actually signs throughout the store that tell you, hey, look for the used sticker, so that you know it's used and you know it's actually going to be even lower priced than the regular whatever they have in store. So that's actually something great. I don't know if that's something recent. I don't know if that's something new, but it's something that Books A Million has done recently, and it is amazing because who would want to buy a new book if you can buy a used book and it's the exact same? And I will also add that the books that I did see that were used, this wasn't like you're picking the worst of the worst. They looked very, very similar in condition. I would categorize them all that I saw as like new, which is pretty hard to do, but definitely what they had at my local store. The next one that I wanted to talk about in terms of just why Books A Million might be the better place to shop is just had a better atmosphere. Like Barnes & Noble is so open. So I talked about this in one of my recent videos about Barnes & Noble just in terms of shopping there, and when I made that video a few months ago, that was the first time that I'd been there in a few years, and I remember thinking as soon as I walked in the door, like, this place is like empty because the aisles are so wide and there's so much empty space. And then factor that in with the fact that the books, you have one copy on the shelf, so many are faced out, so it's like such a very limited selection when it comes to shopping there. Books A Million, you do not have that. Aisles are much closer. You have so many to pick from, but just overall, I just feel like it's just a better atmosphere of wanting to shop in. Barnes & Noble, I've never really had that. It's just kind of just what it is, and that's fine. Some people like it, some people don't. I've never really gotten that at Barnes & Noble, but I just think the atmosphere at Books A Million a little bit better. And I think they have a frozen yogurt, like their restaurant versus like just a coffee shop, which is what is much more common. So that's another way to differentiate it as well. The other thing that I wanted to mention was that they have so many like books that are like on sale, or in the case of Barnes & Noble would be like bargain priced, because Barnes & Noble has plenty of bargain priced books. That's usually those are the books that they actually have numerous copies of, whereas the other ones they usually don't. They're regular price books, which is kind of makes sense, but kind of doesn't really make sense. But Books A Million literally had aisles of books that were discounted and on sale. And obviously there's going to be layers to it, but plenty of them were $6 and below, $5 and below, $4 and below. And they had plenty of the classics, many of them that are usually studied in school, usually at the high school level, sometimes at the college level too. Plenty of those, very, very cheap. So again, this all really comes back to the fact that Books A Million actually wants you they want you to browse. They want you to have a selection. Barnes & Noble, it seems like they're trying to figure out what in the world they want to do, and I'm not really sure, because a lot of those stores are closing and it seems like they're struggling too. Don't know about all that. The final thing that I do want to hit on, because you've got to be a little bit fair here. Obviously, everybody's biased, but I will say Books a Million, though, their major downfall is going to be their location, their number of locations, because I live in Houston, and I don't know the exact number of Barnes & Noble locations, but I do know half price, roughly 10 within the Houston metro area. Barnes & Noble, probably similar, I would say maybe a couple less, but still that's plenty to pick from. Books a Million has one, and back in the day they used to have two. They closed one of the stores that they had. So now it's just one store in the entire metro area of Houston, which is, 7 million, 8 million, whatever it is people. Obviously not everybody's looking for a bookstore to buy books, but having only one store in just a major metropolitan area, it seems a little bit like it's not how it should be. And especially I think Books a Million is a Texas-based company, but I could be wrong on that. So if I'm wrong, do not quote me on that. So that's definitely going to be one of the little downfalls. But overall, I would say neither Barnes & Noble, neither Books a Million can really compete to half-price books because one, the price, two, they actually stock their shelves, and three, they seem to be everywhere, especially in Texas where Half Price is going to be, of course, a Texas-based company. So keep that in mind. Barnes & Noble is probably down to third on the list. Books a Million is probably up to second now, and Half Price, by far and away, my favorite bookstore. That's really all I have for you today. A few reasons why I think you probably should be shopping at Books a Million if you're one of those Barnes & Noble frequenters. I'm not. I will stand by Half Price forever. But if you're different, I don't blame you. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite bookstore, or maybe it's an indie bookstore. I have a favorite too. I never shop there though, so don't yell at me. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.